What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys doing absolutely fantastic. Little crazy market. We got a little crazy market, but I'm glad that I can at least ride it out with some friends. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. We got Bill, Brian, Cindy, Corey M in the house. Good morning to Craig, Frank. We got Jason, Jay Linder. Good morning to Joe. We got Lenandro, Lauren, Marius, Matthew, Miguel. Good morning to Micus, Tim, Tina, all my people out in YouTube land. We got Richard, Jet, Santilla, la la. Good morning to you, No Till. We got Craig, all my lurkers in the background. Hit the like and subscribe button. And if you guys have tickers, throw them out there. We'll definitely try to cover as many as humanly possible. But PPI came out today. Market was bleeding a little bit before it. So even though this doesn't feel like a big rally, right? Even though compared to yesterday's close, we closed roughly at 514.12. So we're sitting at 514.89. Not a major move in terms of closing and opening. But if we go a little bit deeper into the chart, we were down to, I think the low of this was 511.52. That's lower than, I think we breached yesterday's low. Yeah, pre-market, I think we got down to like 511.32. So another, let's see. Yeah, interesting spot for double bottoms. We kind of held that during live hours. We breached through that zone. So this is a big move from PPI, which it did come in light. If you guys are not familiar with PPI, essentially it's essentially the measure of the cost for manufacturers. So how much does their raw materials cost? The other thing built into that was also a light unemployment number as well. So more people with jobs, which again, the entire game right now is just in interest rates. What will Jerome Powell do? So yesterday's 1/10 of a miss, which I think was a little overextended, just a little bit to that sell side. I think we do have a little bit of a rally today. So anything probably interest rate sensitive, I would say, gets the move. Anything that any of the IWM type stocks will probably get the move as a little bit of a relief, and we'll see where we could bounce into. Otherwise, SPY not sitting at a great location. Today's close is going to be important. We're not out of it yet. I got resistance 517.39. So we'll see if we can get up into that zone and how we want to handle that zone. But that's my first real resistance. The other ones come from all the way back here, which we've already been messing with. We could potentially break through these. The high of we got briefly through it yesterday, but 515.87. However, we're below this 20 EMA, so we still got that to battle through. We do. I think we're through one of those right now. Yeah, I only got one more level. This 515 zone, 515.78 ish, and then we get back to that 517.38 if we get through that 20. What are we essentially doing? We're hanging on this box. How many of you guys are familiar with Schrodinger's box? I brought this up in the mentorship group that I do with Johnny yesterday. Type of one if you've heard of Schrodinger's box before. We got a couple. Yeah, okay. Type of two if you've never heard of it. Type of two if you've never heard of it. Got some people. So essentially, what it is a philosopher, last name Schrodinger. So that's how you get the name. But the theory is, and I'm gonna draw a nice little cat right here. Right. So here's the cat. Here's his nose, little eye. Oh, he's adorable. He's adorable. It's a good looking cat. That's a good looking cat. I'm gonna possibly kill him. We're gonna go dark real quick. But essentially, it's the theory that if you put a cat in a box, this is his science experiment, not mine. I didn't come up with it. But if you put a cat in a box and you leave him there, right, and he's not making any sounds, nothing like that, you don't really know. You can't see into the box. You don't know if that cat is alive or he's dead, right? So you have no real way of knowing if you are alive or dead inside that box or that cat, right? So technically, at that point, that cat could both be alive and dead at the same time. You have no idea, right? So there's a theory you could be alive and that cat could be alive and dead at the very same time until you open that box and you find out for yourself. That's where we are in the stock market right now. We are still in uh, a long-term bullish move, right? So you're going to get a lot of people going. I can make a case that, yeah, we're definitely bullish still. Longer term, we're bullish. There's a small little pullback. And then you got other bears coming in going, yeah, we're bearish. We're just gonna sell off. We're gonna tank from here. This is the top of the market. Yada yada yada. We're inside this box right here. We don't know until we know. And that's what we're going off of, right? So does it make sense to buy close to the bottom of yesterday? We were looking for a couple longs yesterday. We ended up we did play an AMD short as well. But until we actually get out of this box, we don't know if this market is alive or dead. We don't know if we're going bullish or bearish until we get some more news. We got some earnings coming out. So tomorrow's a big day for earnings. We got, I think, JP Morgan, maybe Bank of America. I think we got BlackRock coming out tomorrow too. A few other banks coming out. So we'll see. But until we open this box and we actually get the move that is past here, close past there, or close past here, we don't know what we don't know. Right? And is this the top of the market where we're just major pullback? I don't think we're there yet. I think even if you go and you start asking some of the bears, like, hey, are we going into recession levels? I think most of them tell you it's probably going to be just a pullback, a buy the dip opportunity. Yeah, we need a pullback in this market. I think that makes sense. So I don't think many people are sitting there going, yeah, we got no landing scenario in the stock market. Um, but I think that's the question that we have to ask ourselves. Do we get that pullback or not? This sets us. We're all familiar with the 10 EMA strategy, right? So this is essentially close to the same, it's just a 20, right? We're going to move it on to the 20 EMA. Green candle underneath the 20. If this starts to break, yeah, I think we start to get a little bit weaker. But PPI came in, saved us a little bit for today. Again, a little bit of resistance at open, and then I'm looking at support from yesterday as well. Support from yesterday is 514.11. So kind of at the highs of yesterday for now. We'll see where we actually open on this thing. Uh First level I'm looking at is that 515.80 zone, 515.78. But if we get it above that, there's not a lot of room for us to really open our wings and fly up here. We're gonna get hit with all types of resistance and we get some kind of a chop. And we're gonna need maybe those bank earnings to carry us through. We're gonna pull up Dell in a second, Delta as well, just see that's the first kind of big company what they did after they reported earnings yesterday morning. Q's very same situation, so big sell-off candle. Essentially, that cat could be the oldest cat in the list forever. He could be. You don't know. Yeah, that's a good point, Larkin. Yeah, it just that cat found immortality, maybe. I don't know. But we're right in the 50% mark of this sell-off candle. So talk about indecision. Let's see what we got on a weekly. Yeah, weekly, we're right at the bottom of that candle. So we kind of broke down. This is a retest. I don't know. I don't know. But we're above actually some support. So I got support at 439.66. I got support at 440.31. 440.61 is going to be the resistance. If we get through that, we could have a decent move up to 442.92 to the downside. Yesterday's VPOC really, if we could get through some of those VPOCs again to the negative side of things, we got 437.75. Miguel says, doesn't the S curve suggest bull trend broke? I'm pretty indecisive until we break out of the box, like you said, but I believe the S curve suggests. Are you talking about the SPY? I'm gonna go back to the SPY. I don't know if we have an S curve yet. Are you looking at? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure which one. If you could draw me a picture and send me the link. But if you're looking at and again, I could look at this chart 1,000 ways, and I think we all can, right? But if you're saying, hey, here's Here's the big break. This is the S curve, and then we kind of come down. Yeah, I'll say that's an S curve. Otherwise, I don't think this is really an S curve. This is just us hitting some resistance. The other thing too to point out on this chart is, let's see what the volume is. So this candle was here. You got this candle was the next top that's up here. This is your next top. So again, using volume, this volume has actually increased every time we got up there, which does make this a little bit harder to get through. That means there's more people selling every time we get up there. So I would say that that is a good case for like this resistance is actually building, as opposed to if the volume was kind of coming down. That means that there's less and less sellers, less and less transactions, making it easier for the bulls to break through. So I will say that on the volume zone of things, I think this is this is a tough zone. It is the third time. This candle's a monstrosity. So how do we get through a very difficult resistance? We need news. We need a new catalyst. Where's the next Nvidia? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That being said, today at least, based on the fact that the news, the catalyst that we're moving off today is PPI, that is interest rate sensitive, everything. Um, a lot of tech companies. So we just looked at the Qs. We'll pull the Qs back real quick. But a lot of the Qs have companies that are growth. What do you need to fuel growth? It's going to be cash. You got to light cash on fire to make a big flame, right? Keep up with the competitors, come out with something new. But be careful of the ones that you choose, because something like Nvidia, I would even say Apple too. We saw Apple kind of hold up pretty well yesterday. I think it's a little bit of a flight to safety because Apple has essentially their own bank. Nvidia's got a lot of cash, right? So if you're going to go with something and you got to move your money into something that's a little bit safer, I would say, just in terms of like not really being affected by the interest rates. Uh, these guys yesterday had a really nice bounce, a really good day. Today might be a little tougher trade on them, but some of these smaller companies out there, smaller tech companies that might rely on more money. Maybe Palantir. Palantir could be one of all. They got a lot of money sitting in the bank too. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. But there's got to be some other companies, maybe Square, maybe PayPal too. Those guys could probably benefit from some lower interest rates. But some of the smaller tech companies might be the way to go today. Just as Nvidia already had the play yesterday, and now it's kind of the inverse story that we're looking at from yesterday. Let's see if TLT, the bond traders, are believing any of this PPI talk. A little bit, a little bit. We do have a gap and go, still inside day candle, lower end of yesterday's candle as well. Not a great close from yesterday. Um, Actually, maybe that was a great close for yesterday. That might be in a weird way a great close. Too soon to tell, but if we get right back down into the spot, that is a little bit of support from over here. And if we are able to get a bounce, now what do we look like? We look like we got a big, massive inverted head and shoulders on TLT. So that could be the start of something. But again, we need this last shoulder to kind of hold here, develop, and then if we could get that break, TLT would be looking pretty decent on it. But we at least have a little bit of a gap up for TLT, so that is decent. The close yesterday not great. That also being said, watch that candle yesterday with that volume. If we start to break on TLT anywhere past 91, probably a little higher than that, 91.38, something like that, we could get through the highs of yesterday. I have 91.30. So we need to close 91.31, and that takes out a decent amount of bear volume. It also sets us up potentially for that inverted head and shoulders, and maybe we can start to get some news in there. Miguel has this one. 3 bear candles pulling back or more. Yeah, this is kind of like the cannon a little bit. It is high though on the chart, but Yeah, this to me is some consolidation, right? The candles activates the new higher high. Yep. And this one did get this was a new high, right? So you even have a mini head and shoulders on this one. And again, on this one, this looks like a little bit of potential S curve here to the bear side. The problem is, like I said earlier, we're still in that box. We don't know until we know because this is still a absolute massive bullish rally. So are we just trading sideways in this? Could be, right? We could. This could just be some sideways chop, letting some of those moving averages catch up, and then we get that kind of next breakout higher. But all that volume that was kind of coming in, that's intimidating. So we'll see. It's not a bad spot to and I did sell out. I had some puts yesterday. I sold out toward the close to open. If we can get up to that 517, whatever I said, 80, whatever price point that was, I will be looking to add some puts back on, just again, just for protection. Just to start nibbling on some protection, but I already locked in some gains on the first set of puts. And I'm just seeing if we get a little bounce. Maybe today's the day I could do that. Because I don't know when we open the box. Not sure. All right, we got AZN. AZN. Morning. To have earnings today. Did they plan? Love and Hooker both have earnings today. Did they plan that? uh, we'll take a look at that one. I don't. Is there a ticker for Hooker? Is Hooker even a ticker? I don't even know that one. I don't even know that one. That's pretty wild if that's real. All right, we got news on this one. AstraZeneca says US FDA approves Fasenera, Fasenera to treat children aged 6 to 11 with severe asthma. Yeah, that's cool. That's good. I like that. That's positivity. Um, we're gonna look at this chart first, and then we're gonna pull up Delta. We do have a pretty good gap here. It's a green candle. Technically, that was all a retest candle. Might have some room to move. But we do have the resistance starting to come in, $7.20. This is a pretty decent support resistance zone. So somewhere right around here. Let's see. Probably essentially right where we're opening. We got support. We got support. We got resistance. We got resistance. Resistance. And probably I would say this fades. Let's see if this one wants to kind of break first and kind of move like that. And then again, we do have earnings coming out. So anybody that doesn't really want to be in there for the earnings, this gap kind of gives them that early Christmas gift. So I think this one probably fades. STZ, yeah, Constellation Brands is always a little bit spready. I believe they had earnings. I think their earnings report was pretty decent. Yep. So they beat by 15 cents earnings per share, 7.25%. Surprise beat with a 44.46, almost 44.7 million, 2.12% to the higher side on revenue. So not bad on that one. We're above a lot of support. I would like to see a little tiny pullback on this one. Nothing too crazy, but if this thing could start to hold around 266.94, I wouldn't mind. Let's get that a little bit higher. It is going to be spready though. And then let's take a look at Delta real quick. Just because, for no other reason than that they have reported earnings yesterday, and kind of reminds me of that AZN move a little bit. We could also see how the banks want to hold, but this is a big reversal candle off of good earnings. We got right into the highs. I think we peaked right through it for a little bit and complete reversal. Did the market help? Not really. Not yesterday, it didn't. But they had a different catalyst than the rest of the market too. So that's what we kind of want to watch for. See how many of these candles we start to get on earnings or these big gaps to let us know, are we in the sell the rip category? That will strengthen that S curve theory that you got, Miguel. AZM prepared to sell based on the daily chart, not too long target. Um, yeah, I agree. I think what you're saying is there's probably gonna be some profit taken on AZN. I agree with that. I think there is. I think we get a little bit of a fade. Coinbase, we're still above the 20, which is good. I've got one little resistance, 252.05. That's good. Next target up is 256.73. Gives me about $4, $4 to $5 in that range. And then if we could break, fantastic. Uh, BTC USD. It's kind of flat in here as well. We also have a resistance at 71,713, but otherwise Bitcoin has kind of held up. And again, this is that consolidation period. So this is the example of kind of the SPY, right? Of what could happen. We've obviously, I think, undoubtedly had a massive bullish run, kind of like the SPY did, right? The question is it too high? How big is a pullback coming? So we did pull back, but we're still hanging in the zone. Essentially, all we're doing is letting those moving averages come up a little bit higher. So for right now, it still looks decent. I do like that higher low. This technically is our first new higher high. So if we're trending up this way, that's not a horrible look for it. But we do have to get through some of that resistance up there as well for this thing to kind of continue out. Lower interest rates, that might be good for crypto. The more money that people save, the more money they got to throw into arcade games, which is fun. Nice. I think everyone who's crypto people, like, I hate you, DJ. It's not an arcade. You're not playing Mario. It's not Donkey Kong. It's real money. All right, maybe. TSM. So TSM. Uh, it seems like we've been gapping up for the last essentially 1, 2, 3 days, and the last 1, 2, 3 days have all given back. we haven't held, so I don't know if today's gonna be different. Almost tweezers, not quite, but almost tweezers up there. And the one good thing about this gap though is you're at least above that resistance. So 146.83, and then we're looking at 149.29 is probably the next kind of resistance up from there. So not bad. We got a little bit of room if it wants to hold. I don't like the action from the last few days though. Didn't really scream rally. Baba had a good day yesterday. Uh, did something a little bit different in the market. We are starting to gap up a little bit more here too. We will have another little resistance, and this is kind of it's kind of high. It is a high wave, so high wave indecision. They've already said we want to go a little bit higher, but see if we get a pullback first, somewhere into, I don't know. I'd even think maybe like 74.84, probably appropriate. Resistance 75.42, and then if we could get past that, we got 76.02 on the chart. So a little bit of room on that one. The other one we can look at, I think, is a good one, and we could probably get a good day trade on it, is Nike. Obviously, Nike's not going anywhere. I don't know what happened to my voice there. I was possessed, I think. That was crazy. But we do have a good long-term support down on Nike. I do have some put sales on this one, so we'll see if it holds. But this little gap up is good. But they got an upgrade from Bank of America to, I think, yeah, one. They raised it from 113 to 110. They pushed it to a buy as opposed to a neutral. And not a bad gap and go for Nike. Again, a little bit of resistance up here. If we can get through that, the next target up is about 92.48. So I got about $1.20, $1.40, something like that for some potential targets. Maybe trapping some bears that were on this one. But so far that looks good on a very long-term support. I say very long-term, just really takes us back to October of last year, so not hugely long-term. But Nike, I'm gonna be watching today for probably a bullish trade, bullish gap and go if we could get one. See if we can play into some of those shorts trying to cover their positions. FAST, Festinel. Gap down, earnings missed 1 penny per share. For earnings per share, and then we missed by $19 million. Distribution, wholesale distributors. Yep, so miss on earnings, so they're gapping down. This is a retest gap. You are at a little bit of support here. So I would say watch this level very closely. 72.10. If we start to break down 72.10, next little spot takes us to about $70.55. Otherwise, I'd be looking for some kind of a retest. I don't think an amazing retest on this one. Definitely no catalyst. But retest will probably come into like 73.36, I think, which takes us into this volume zone. We got that moving average holding us back. So I don't know if I'd be the first one to short. See if we get a bounce, and then maybe a little bit later in the day. I don't think this is a gap that fills today. Might need a few days on this one to fill, but we'll see how that one plays out. And we do have some room to the downside. A pretty decent continued drop if we could go a little bit further and break the support we're at now. Nuts and bolts, fast and all. Tell that to Boeing. They're still using duct tape to build planes. It's crazy. Nvidia relative strength. Yes, so good point on this one. I don't know. It had really good strength yesterday. But like we talked about, today we're on interest rates again. We're on higher interest rates or lower interest rates, but potentially. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. That was a different story than yesterday. So even though Nvidia is still pretty high up there, Nvidia does have a lot of cash. It's not as dependent on interest rates. So I think there's some other companies out there that might move a little bit better today. But they did show some strength yesterday. Coinbase up by. We did take a look at that one already. It does look good. It's got some resistance. eBay looks fun. Nice little double bottom, higher lows. We got one little resistance, 52.75. So not too far away from that one. This is also a retest. If you're going to try it, you're looking for about 52.32. Got momentum a little bit more to the bearish side on this one. So I think we do get some kind of pullback. Probably buy the dip opportunity, especially if the market does want to do anything fun today. But that was the opening bell. So everybody out on YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you have not done so already. We do this every day, 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Be safe in the markets. You got some earnings coming out tomorrow. Today should get a little fun. eBay's pulling back a little bit, so we can watch that one for a potential buy.